What's up, guys?
Yo.
Back again with another episode. This is our third episode. Third episode. We record 2 at a time. And at the time we're recording this, it's right before Christmas. Just some context. So because like the landscape of the world changes so quickly, that when we release this, I think this will end up releasing the first week in January.
No, the week after Christmas.
The week after Christmas?
No, I'm lying. You're right. January.
Yeah, January. So I hope this isn't obsolete by then.
Who knows?
You know?
Life moves so fast.
But we're going to be talking about something that my husband is obsessed with lately. Like, his friend was up for the weekend with their family.
Yeah.
And this was all he could talk to them about. Then the next day, we're at my dad's house for family dinner before Christmas. All he could talk about. We're at the fashion show last night and he's on his phone showing my brother and my mom. And I'm like, I'm so sick of hearing about this. And we'll get further into that. But today we're talking about AI.
Yep.
The thing that you've been jumping on the AI track a lot lately is Chat CPT. Is that what it's called? GPT. That's how much I know about it. But we're going to be talking about AI today. And if you're like me, you may be rolling your eyes and being like, this is not the episode for me. Hang on. There's some interesting stuff about it.
Yeah.
And I'll give my take on it, but don't just immediately click off.
Right.
Also, I want to throw myself under the bus. After listening to our first episode that launched this week. I make fun of Mike. I think it's in the second episode. I make fun of you, how you constantly talk about how you're an achiever in Enneagram 3.
Enneagram 3.
And how we should play the game that we take a shot every time you say that. We should also turn that game on me. And every time I say, yeah.
But the way you say it,
or
yeah.
Yeah. Or yeah. Like,
yeah.
We'd be hammered within 3 minutes. So I apologize. It's so funny listening back and you're like, I hate myself. Why do people want to like talk to me?
No, people love you. Stop it.
I also hear my Jersey so much.
So much.
I
know.
But I'm proud. We're built different
Jersey
here.
proud. We are built different.
Yeah.
That's right.
But without further ado, explain to us, what is AI? Because some people just think of robots and some people think like aliens are coming and like taking us over. Like, what is AI specifically?
AI is artificial intelligence. And right now where we are, we're not at like Terminator level. Anybody used to watch Terminator?
But could we bring back Terminator 2 Eddie Furlong days?
Wow.
That's a Gen X reference.
Calm down there.
I was in love with Eddie Furlong. No offense.
But now you're in love with me, right?
I am very in love with you.
But
Eddie Furlong, have you seen him lately?
No.
No,
Good.
He did not age well.
I wonder if people say that about us.
True.
He did not age
Yeah.
well. But it's artificial intelligence, and I'm so deep into it. Like now, I'm even listening to podcasts and going down the YouTube holes of like, is this really intelligence? Right? So let's not argue about that. But basically artificial intelligence, where the computer's thinking or given the perception of thinking for itself. Mm-hmm. And so the big thing that came out recently was Chat GPT, where it's a language model where literally you could have full out conversations with it. It could be your personal assistant. I'm throwing myself under the bus. I've done things like, hey, I could type in and say, write me a script. We just used it for a couple scripts for our video announcements at church.
Yeah.
Write me a script for this, write me a script for that. Include this, include that, and it'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
It makes my life easier because normally I'm the person writing the script for those things
Right.
at the last minute because you're like, I need a script on this. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So that is one part of AI that I do appreciate. It makes my life easier.
Right.
Which I'm sure you'll expand upon in other areas. Where
Right. So it does things like that. It does things like, I could say, some of the stuff, write me a 5-day keto meal plan. It'll do it. Then I'll say, create a shopping list from that. It'll do it. Put it in a table. It'll do it. Hey, write code for this part of our website. It'll do it. Right. So like,
it's wild.
It is wild. So even if you're like, this is not my thing, like some of it's really impressive. Right.
Yeah.
And now like, it's not only Chat GPT, but it's also things like Dolly too, where like you could tell it, hey, draw me a picture of a monkey on a horse and it'll give you 6 variations of it.
The funny thing is, the one time you were asking the boys, like, ask it something, and they were like, write me a rap song about Ice Cubes by Drake.
Yeah. And
it was hilarious.
Yeah, right.
And it does it within seconds.
Yeah.
That's the wild thing to me, because, like, for me to come up with that script, it takes me, like, it doesn't take me a ton of time, but, like, it doesn't take me seconds. Like, it's wild how quick and responsive it is.
Right. And so, that's where it is right now. It does things like, the crazy part is, like, it does things like, I could sell it to, hey, write me a contract, a lease agreement contract covering security deposits and terminations and all, and it'll do it. And so we could go on about all the capabilities that it has.
Yeah.
But that's what, even as a pastor, right? I told it I said, write a sermon on anxiety using Philippians 4, and the sucker did it. Now, I would argue and said that you still need to add, like, personality and flair to it.
Yeah.
But for all those Bible thumpers out there, it was theologically sound. There wasn't heresy. There wasn't anything like that. And so that's what it is right now. And it's continuing to grow, and it's getting fast.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, it's not like, oh, that's old news.
Yeah.
But
or they've banned it.
Right. But what I want to call it, AI-Phobia. Right?
Okay.
Because there's some people that are scared of it.
Yeah.
I was just talking to one lady about it. She was an educator, and it almost looked like she was about to cry. Like, and I was showing her, and, like, she got petrified. Like, she was scared. She's like, and she just, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Well, think about it. Like, and I wish and I don't, like, I wouldn't have used it. But, like, Hunter was writing a paper on the Crucible,
Right.
and he, like, asked me to read it. And, like, I graduated high school, what are we at, 23 years ago? I don't think I've written a paper in 20 years.
Right.
But he's asking me to, like, read this. I don't think I ever read the Crucible when I was in high school. I probably, like, read the Cliff's Notes of it. But I have no idea what he's talking about. But I know it's not lining up with the rubric. And part of me, like, in hindsight, after I found out about this thing, I would have been like, hey, write me a paper on the Crucible with these themes and da-da-da-da.
And that you can even give it the rubric, and it'll follow the rules of the rubric.
And that would have been really convenient. But, like, I also would have been a bad mom if I'm having AI write his paper. But, like, convenience-wise, it would have been great. But it brought up an interesting discussion, because I know we were talking to my sister about it, because my sister's a high school counselor, and they were saying, like, the way that the school model may be moving is going away from doing papers and stuff and having more conversational stuff, so that you can gauge that the kids actually understand what they're talking about, because you can input that, and they've tested it, and I think you've tested it as well. You can enter the same thing multiple times, and you'll get a different paper each time. They don't just give you the same thing over and over again, and there's no way to track plagiarism with it. So it's really, if it continues, which I don't see why it wouldn't, it may change the whole landscape of education and so many other things.
It's going to change a lot of things. And I think in my personal opinion, hopefully no one writes me emails about this. If you do, I'm going to get AI to respond to you. But it's going to change. It's about time that education evolves. Right now the system, I believe it rewards those who are good at memorization.
Yes.
And now with this, the dawning of this new era, it's going to force us to, now you got to actually teach kids critical thinking.
Yeah.
So I think two things need to step up. I think we need to teach kids, the schools need to teach kids critical thinking. And I think this is parents' responsibility, not the school. Again, write me an email. I don't give a flip. But I think it's the parents' responsibility to teach the kids character development and morality, right? Because that's going to be the most important thing with all this. So I want to call it AI-Phobia because, like I said, you have people like myself that are excited. You have people like the one teacher I was talking to that was scared crapless about it. And then you have you who don't care at all. Right?
It's not that I don't care. It's just I feel like there's always something new. And there's like, I feel like I'm to the point, and it could be because we're just at the end of the year as well. Like, I just don't have the energy for it.
Yeah.
And you're always so excited about it. And I'm just like, okay, this is because augmented reality, AI, like all this stuff, and he's so into it,
right.
And I'm just like, oh, like this is this what we're on right now? And I just don't have the energy for it. But as you show me and as I see what it does, my brain starts ticking. And I'm like, how could I use this to make my life easier and more efficient?
Right.
Because for me, because I juggle so many things, like, how can I make myself, like, how can I work more efficiently while working less? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is something that I'm interested. I have not downloaded it yet, but I'm close.
It's a web page. It's not an app.
That's how much I know. Is it cost anything?
Not right now.
Okay.
I can't wait for them to put a price on it.
I wonder if you can get like grandfathered in.
I hope so, because I use it a lot now.
Like literally all day long.
But so the fears in all this is why I wanted to talk about this today. I think anyone who's afraid of it, you miss out on the evolution of society, and then you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
And I see the church do that all the flipping time.
Yes.
And I see just society do it all the time.
Well, I think it's not that they're afraid of it. I think that they just don't understand it.
Right.
And they just like it's kind of like they don't understand it and they don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like you think about it, it's our parents' generation is like so into Facebook and they're like kind of getting into Instagram. They play with Instagram a little more than they used to. If they're on TikTok, it's like, oh, my dad's on TikTok. And I think he's on TikTok because my uncle sends him a lot of TikToks.
Yeah.
But like he's more Twitter. Like he likes to talk crap to Philly sports fan, like as a Philly sports fan to like Cowboys fans specifically. Yes. But like you can see
he trolls Cowboys fans.
He does. He trolls them. It's
so
amazing.
Hard. Yeah.
Keep doing it, Dad. But it's funny, even like the range of social media, you see like the older generation at first was like, I don't understand that. I'm not into it. Then they're really into it. And you can kind of see them phasing into the newer ones. Whereas like people our generation and below, they're really quick to jump onto the new thing.
Yeah.
Because they're excited about it. Because it is neat to see. And I'm not opposed to it. I'm in a season of, I'm going into hibernation season. So I don't care about anything right now. And I just want to rest.
Right. We'll pick it up in the new year.
Yeah. But maybe come March, I'll be really into it.
So I think you're right. People fear what they don't understand. And what I don't want to see is people they demonize it. And I think here's the principle of today's episode is that we're the ones that do the corruption, not the program, the systems, or anything like that. Right. So like, I can imagine back in the day when they invented the wheel. They're like, oh my gosh, now people are going to use this for war. Yeah, but they could also use it to carry food to other towns.
Yeah.
Right? Same things with a plane. Like, oh my gosh, they gave us a superpower to fly. So you could use a plane to go and feed and clothe the orphans in another country, or you could go and bomb a city, right? It's not that's the problem. It's always us.
It's humanity.
It's always humanity. And so I cringe a little bit when somebody wants to always attack the program. But I think we constantly need to go back to we are always the problem, right? So the tool's never the problem, right? I grew up in the hood. I've seen people stab each other with pencils. Does that mean we get rid of pencils in school, right? It's not the pencil's fault. It's the corruption inside of each and every one of us. So I want to diffuse that and maybe just impart very quickly how we could leverage AI and just maybe get a little bit less fearful about it and a little bit more excited. Maybe you won't be all the way excited because there are checks and balances. And listen, Google just put out a couple of days ago before this recording that they just created an algorithm because people now are making businesses on writing content for your blogs through AI.
Copywriting, yeah.
But Google just came out with an algorithm that can detect AI content.
Oh.
So you could still do that, but what Google's going to do is going to demote your website.
Wow.
For search engine optimization, right? So like they're catching up to this.
That's interesting, yeah.
They're catching up to this now. But I still believe that here's how some ways we could use AI. Number one, I think we need to get good at efficiency. Like you just said, sometimes I'll sweat over writing an email like 15 minutes because I want to make sure it sounds professional. Well,
and then you'll end up putting it off for weeks, and then you forget about it, and it's past its prime at that point.
But if this could help us be more efficient, I heard another blogger talk about that this isn't really going to get rid of jobs. A lot of people are afraid that, oh my gosh, it's going to take over jobs.
Yeah,
legal secretaries, like social media, content management, all this other stuff. But more than take away jobs, it's going to make jobs more efficient. So one person can now do the job of 5 people.
Yeah.
So it's not going to get rid of the actual position. It's just going to decrease the manforce behind that position. But we got to learn how to be efficient now with it, right?
There's another aspect of AI that you didn't mention that we've used to make us more efficient. I don't know what it's called, but what we do is with the scripts that AI is creating for our announcements, we then put them into this program. What is it? The voiceover program?
Yeah. I use Well Said.
Okay. So he puts the script into a thing and we can choose a voice.
An AI
and it's
voice.
an AI voice that does the voiceover rather than me or paying someone on Fiverr or something like that. And it's efficiency.
It is efficiency.
And it spits it out in what?
One take.
Yeah. So
One take.
you're not waiting for the time that I can sit down and voice it over, or you're not waiting for the Fiverr person to do it and send it back. It's like instant. And it's
high quality audio. It's our AI. It sounds real, so it doesn't sound like
some
robotic.
of them sound a little wonky, and I'm like, don't use that one. But you have choices,
right? And so we got to get good at efficiency. Period. So if you're afraid of it, look at it from this way: how can this make my life more efficient? Yeah. So look at it that way. It's going to be all ease because I'm a preacher. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
So I think the second thing, especially now, I want to talk to the church because some pastors are afraid to I spend 15, 20 hours writing a sermon, and now this thing is going to help you with all the research and do the research for you. Again, it's not going to replace a pastor.
Yeah.
I think what we have to now get good at, so we got to get good at efficiency. And I think the second thing we got to get good at is creating an experience. Yeah. We're leaving the information age. We're no longer in the information age. This is called the experience age. Yeah. Right?
We're drowning in information.
Drowning in it.
It's ridiculous.
Way too much.
People don't want to hear, a line by line. Well, some of them do, but people don't want to, in the church context, they don't want to hear you go down line by line of the Bible and be like, there you go. Yeah. No, they want to hear your story and how you've struggled through that and how you've used that and how you've come out and how you've seen God show up. And that's what they're there for. So like you said, it's pressuring people to be vulnerable. Yeah. And in some areas, that's completely lacking in the church. Right. And it's really pushing that. So if you want to reach people, you have to share that part of your life.
100%.
That's just the way it's going.
Yep. And we trained our church. I believe we trained our church that when preachers aren't vulnerable, they don't do well at our church.
No,
because
not at
we set that culture of you have to give people an experience. We don't just want to learn from you. We want to learn with you. We want to experience this with you. Yeah. And I think long gone are the days where people are just screaming, it's about biblical literacy. Just teach the Bible. Honestly, if somebody wants to study, they could go to AI and say, give me a study on this. Give me a study on that. And it'll pump it out. And it'll be pretty flippin' accurate. Yeah. What people really need is that experience. So we got to lead people. So the basis is biblical literacy, but long gone are the days where it's just about biblical literacy. And I think it's going to be about spiritual intimacy, leading people an experience.
Sorry, I'm joking. Oh my God.
Can't have it go down the wrong. But no, I'm going to leave it. This is too real, daggone it. You all right there?
Yeah, I think
Don't go dying on me. I'll replace you with AI real quick. I'm just kidding. No,
I'm not ready for that part of AI. No. That's already out there.
No, let's not talk about that. But I think we got to get good at leading people in experiences, right? Which third E is I think that we have to engage people. Yeah. You actually have to talk to people right now, right? You have to start engaging people, period. And now CEOs, leaders, all this other stuff, you could have AI help you write the emails and actually spend time being with people, because that's the thing that people are going to be starving for the most. Yeah. Is that personal engagement.
Which is wild to me, because when I first started in the workforce, you didn't have conversations with your boss. You feared your boss. Right. So being a leader nowadays and having people come in and expecting us as leaders, and in our context it's different, but they don't know what's going on in my life. They don't know how I feel. Right. Da, da, da. And that is so foreign. And again, when I was in the mortgage business, I would have never gone to my boss and be like, this is what I'm going through. I need you. They would have been like, they would have said a lot of things that are not safe for this podcast. But
they're not safe for normal ears.
Yeah. But coming into this new generation and everything, that's something that bosses have to consider, that connection, that it's funny. It all lines up. We're out of information. We're into experience. People they want to have bonds with you. Yeah. And it's just so if you were to talk to my dad about this, he'd be like, he'd say things.
Right. But I think the engagement part is, listen, New York Times just put out an article about Gen Zers. They were born in the information age.
Yeah.
Right? Anything they want, they could just Google it, right? So now you have these Gen Zers, and you can look this up in New York Times. They got rid of their iPhones and smartphones, and they went to flip phones so that you could be more present.
Well, Chase just deleted TikTok from his phone.
Our son, oldest, just deleted TikTok just because he says he wants to be more present. We never forced that on him.
No.
He decided.
We were actually shocked when he told us.
So
we were
shocked.
like, what? I'm like, I've sent you like 3 TikToks. You didn't watch them yet?
Way to be good influence.
Yeah.
But you're seeing this longing for, we don't just need information anymore. We have information at the tip of our fingers. We want a connection. So I think engagement is going to have to really, be stepped up in that area.
Yeah.
The other thing is execution. I think this is really going to separate the weak from the strong. And what I mean by execution is that, like, you could right now go to ChatGPT and say, give me a business plan to start this style of business in this many months, and it'll do it for you. It'll
Wow.
create the plan for you. No
Yeah.
lie. It doesn't matter.
If you're not going to do the work,
If you're not going to flip and do the work. There's
Yeah.
so many people that have great ideas.
Yeah.
All this is going to do is it's going to spit out the ideas faster.
Yeah.
Right?
But if you lack the tenacity, it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. How many people have all these great ideas,
Oh,
right?
my goodness.
Everybody listening, you have that cousin that always has the next great idea, right? Yo, I got this idea, cuz. And they would tell you it, and they never execute.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We know someone right now that, like, they're hustlers, right? They just started, like, a little side hustle with media and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, like, this person always wants to incorporate their friends, see that engagement, right? They always want to incorporate their friends.
So now their friends are all doing the same
thing. But the problem is their friends suck at execution.
Yeah.
And so that brings that person down, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the element of, like, you could have the best idea, you could have the best product.
But if you don't have the hustle, which is a trigger word for some people, which I roll my eyes at, I'm like, relax.
Yeah.
If you don't have the hustle, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So, like, fine. All this is going to do is going to flood the market with ideas.
Yeah.
But I still think that without human hustle, that level of execution, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yep.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you got to understand that AI is just going to speed up that. But it's still not going to create the hustle inside of every single person. So there's still an element of hustle. And I think the last thing is empowerment. If you really still want to, if you want to gather people and bring people on your team, now people are already going to feel empowered by information, but they need to feel empowered by people. And so we got to get really good at letting people own certain positions and roles and that kind of stuff and empower them, because that's how you're going to grow the organization.
Yeah.
So really get good at empowerment, really get good at delegating and letting people's personality shine, because AI is going to handle the ideas and some of the logistics and all that other stuff. But to let people's personalities and charisma shine through, you can't be threatened by people that are more talented than you.
Yeah.
You can't be now it's kind of like even intelligence. There's an even playing field a little bit, right? Because anybody could access this now quicker. It's not about IQ anymore. It's about EQ, having that emotional intelligence, and being able to when you see that in someone, empower the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And so I think if you get all those E's down, it could diffuse your anxiety.
That's a lot of E's.
It's good. if you get all those E's down, right? So, efficiency, experience, engagement, execution, and empowerment, you won't be as afraid of AI as some people are, and you'll start leaning into the future and still know that it's all about people anyway.
Did you ask ChatGPT to give you 5 E's to talk about the effects of AI?
No, I did not. That's all me. That's all me, son.
Oh, my goodness.
All
right. Well, thank you for this conversation. Even though I'm one that doesn't care, I'm like turning the corner with it because I see the benefits and the just making my life easier. And I hope that this conversation helped other people in that sense, or those scared of it. If you like this episode, when we share it on social media, share it too. Send it to a friend. You can check us out on Instagram at Mike Rosato, at Jillian Rosato, on TikTok at Mike Rosato, at Jillian.Rosato.
Come on.
Dun, dun, dun. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and all of your favorite podcasting platforms. We will be back next Wednesday. Wednesday? Yes, next Wednesday with another episode. And we'll talk to you then.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.